Between 10 to 12% of the population has ADHD.
So we're rare. We're cool.
ADHDers usually make great salespeople and make fantastic entrepreneurs because they're huge risk takers. Is there anything that you think you couldn't do if you can keep your brain engaged?
Oh, no. I'm going to win every time.
If you believe ADHD doesn't hold you back, if you believe it's a superpower, the likelihood that it will be just goes up.
Life is a pitch. It's simply that. It is a pitch, and it is fun. Let's make sure that you're being sold what you want and you're selling what you actually want to sell. I really just love selling. It's the easiest thing on the planet if you believe in yourself. Let's buckle up. By the way, my name's JL. This is Sell Anything.
Welcome back to the Sell Anything podcast. Today, we have the one and only Miss Jheri. Did I say it right? Jheri.
You did.
Okay.
Jheri South.
South.
You
okay.
said it.
So my wife is actually the most excited about this episode. Candidly, I don't know that she's even ever listened to a full episode, and she's probably going to listen to this one.
Awesome.
Because what you're an expert in is like a hot button, like all across youth, moms, everybody, I guess. So
Yes.
tell us what it is. I don't want to spill the tea. I want you to spill it.
Okay. Well, I specialize in neurodivergence, and sometimes people don't understand exactly what that word means. So I'm an ADHD expert, but I also specialize in autism as well. But today, I think we're going to focus more on ADHD, right? Talking about ADHD. So I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was about 40 years old.
40.
Yes.
So
and
how'd
it
that
was
go
kind of
down?
a long time ago. Don't ask me like how long ago that was. I don't want to admit it.
A couple
But
years ago.
It was just
Yeah.
like 6 months ago or
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
And then also all 7 of my children are neurodivergent. So 5 of them are on the spectrum. 6 of the 7 have ADHD. We are a neurodivergent family. And one of the reasons for that is that it does run in families.
Okay.
So it's just been
So explain what neurodivergent is. Just if you
if you have
Yeah.
ADHD or you have autism, you fit under that neurodivergent umbrella.
Okay.
And really what we're saying is your brain looks a little bit different than a neurotypical brain.
Okay.
And the reason I say look is because we can see it on scans early in childhood. We can see the difference between a neurodivergent brain and a neurotypical brain. And then obviously what that means is that the brain processes information a little bit differently, the way that we learn. There's just some differences, the way that we get engaged. And also there is a difference between autism and ADHD as well. So there's some overlap and then there's some big differences.
wild. Okay.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
So when can we just dive right into like I'm 40, I now have ADHD. How'd that happen?
So it's funny because most adults realize they have ADHD when they're sitting in the doctor's office and their child's being evaluated. They're like, oh, that sounds exactly like me. This is me, right? So that's
Yeah.
what happens. Like
Yeah.
the average age of diagnosis today is 31.
Really?
So this is not a childhood disorder. It's adults are being diagnosed every day, right? They're
Wow.
missed.
Okay.
Well, you think about it, like the DSM has changed so much over time. We're on DSM-5 now.
Okay.
And so there was a time the DSM, we didn't even believe that girls could have ADHD.
So, okay, I'm going to act like I'm so dumb. What is DSM? Where are we at?
Okay, so this is just what we use,
Okay.
the medical community, and this is for lots of different diagnoses. This
Okay.
is the criteria for
Okay.
how we diagnose. I'm sorry, that's a good question because probably the
Yeah.
audience needs to know too. So,
Yeah.
we start with the original, right? It moves up
Scale
DSM
1.
1, 2, 3.
Now we're 5.
So now we're at 5.
Okay.
And so over time, the way that we've understood ADHD has changed. So there was a time a long time ago that we didn't know that girls could have ADHD.
Really?
Then, as things change, the criteria that doctors are looking at, they're changing the way they evaluate. So even now, we do a terrible job at recognizing ADHD. The DSM focuses mostly on behaviors. So there's, I think, 18 different behaviors that we're looking at. But the problem with that is that if you're not someone who's very hyperactive or you don't meet most of those behaviors, it's very common that it will be written off as depression or anxiety, right? Or
Gotcha.
even as a teenager, just defiance. So this is the reason that girls are many times missed. that someone who's not hyperactive will be missed. If you do well in school, you might be missed. You just have some natural ability, in school. And also, if you're someone who's willing to do twice as much work for half the reward, so you're doing a lot of masking to fit in, you'll be missed.
Wow.
So
many people in my circle, I'm like, oh, yep, makes sense. Well, and I think before I told you, I was diagnosed with it when I was little, and I don't know how they diagnosed it, but I was in first grade. And so here's what happened. Can I tell you what happened?
I would love to hear it.
And
yes.
I only remember because I was like, well, that's weird, because it like stood out to me that it happened. So I got tied to my chair a couple of times in elementary because I just wouldn't sit still. Like I was always just going.
Like an adult did this to you.
Yeah, like my teacher. Like, because I was raised in a small town.
They just have stuff to tie you to your chair.
I was raised in a
desk.
small little town, a little rural town where it's like, you just put them in check. And like, they would just tie me in my chair and be
like hands behind your back.
Yeah, like here
I am.
But I would get out of it. Like it was never too serious. Like they weren't ever mad, but it was like, I'm going to tie you to your chair if you don't sit down kind of thing. And so they did a couple times.
So you were warned.
Yeah.
You had a fair warning.
And so I would get out of it, right? So, but then I went to the doctor. They diagnosed me with it. Put me on Ritalin. I didn't like it. I didn't want to take it, so I would hide it. I'd like put it in the couch cushions.
And you didn't like Ritalin because
I just didn't like it. I just didn't like
how
how
the way it felt.
Yeah, I didn't like the way it felt. But the day that I did take it, like for the first week that I took it, like they would bring in other kids to like look at me because I was so focused and it was such a stark difference. They would be like
you're an animal at the zoo.
Yeah, it was. And my mom would be like, she told me, she's like, did you notice that like this other class came in and was like watching you? And I was like, no, I had no idea. She's like, no, like, because this is so weird that you just got in such a zone. So I don't know. I think it's a thing. I guess it's a thing, but.
Well, yeah. So this is how you behaved when you were on medication. You were able to focus.
Sure, well, and I think I can focus now. I have moments of it for sure.
Well, so obviously I don't know because I wasn't there, but okay, this is interesting. But one of the doctors that I really admire, I get a lot of the learning and information and knowledge I got from him, but he talked about that 93% of psychiatrists today don't know how to properly treat ADHD. They're not getting,
and it's a real thing. We're determined it's a real thing.
ADHD.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's real.
I believe, but like, when someone tries to tell you something and so you just dismiss it because you're like, nope, that's not me.
Yes.
So I have dismissed it in my mind that it's even a thing.
It happens a lot, especially with parents. They decide ADHD isn't real when they find out that it runs in families. They're like, oh, well, then it must not be real because I don't have ADHD. But yes, it's definitely a real thing.
Okay.
And but it is. We're all pretty familiar with the fact that autism is on a spectrum. It can just vary so much. Yeah. So can ADHD. Yeah. So that's why it can be challenging as well to think that you can recognize ADHD just by looking at it because, for example, I have a daughter that is straight A, honors student, and not hyper at all. Nobody would think of her as ADHD, but it's the emotional dysregulation that's so impairing. But just to go back real quickly on the medication, because you have a lot of psychiatrists that really don't specialize in ADHD. They kind of have like their 5 medications that they, run through. And then you go back to when you were in elementary school, there's just so much misinformation already. I think that people don't know what to look for when they're taking medication. And just for the record, I'm not someone who pushes medication. I'm also not against it. I was a long time ago. I'm not anymore. But when you're taking medication, if you feel like a zombie, if you're numb, if it's just hard for you to really feel very many emotions, or you feel like you've had way too much coffee, you might have headaches or you're jittery, you're taking too much medication. And a lot of people don't understand this. And so if it's working, like for you, if it was working and you're focusing more and you're sitting still and doing your work, then we might just chalk it up to, well, it's working, but I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels, instead of understanding how to fine tune the medication. And now today there's so many different kinds of medications. They've done a really good job of figuring out what's happening with people. Like sometimes Adderall, for example, for a lot of people, it had a big crash at the end. So if you take an immediate release between hours 5 and 6, you start coming down. I don't really like that term because you really shouldn't feel like anything on it, but it starts wearing off. So some people will have some intense emotions. They might feel agitated. Sometimes kids are getting off the school bus and they're crying. So we have to understand these things. That's why they created Vyvanse, because it lasts longer in the body and it usually does away with that crash. There's just a lot that people don't know. So they immediately stop taking medication because we hear that a lot. They don't like the way it feels.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Well, on the topic of Adderall, so with this being a sales podcast, Adderall is like candy in the sales industry. Like people just take it just because for what? Why are they doing it? From your expert opinion.
Well, it's easy to get.
Yeah.
It's not expensive, right? It's like even especially generic. And so here's something. I'm just going to back up a little bit. And by the way, you're allowed to interrupt me and ask questions, right?
I'm just listening. Yeah.
I have ADHD. I might just start talking about something else.
Well, if it starts to get crazy, then I'll say something. What are we talking about?
Let me know.
Okay, cool.
Let me know. Okay, so when it comes to Adderall, I think that because it's easy to get and because it is a stimulant, people who don't have ADHD are going to have more of a euphoric reaction to it. It's going to wake them up. They might feel, I mean, it's different for everyone, right? Like, I don't want to say high, but they might just feel like they have a lot of energy. Someone with ADHD, it's not going to do that for them. Yeah. There's 4 molecules and a stimulant medication, not just Adderall, and 3 of them do absolutely nothing for ADHD, but one of them, and they really don't know why, mirrors a molecule that we have. I say at the top of the brain. That might be wrong. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
I think it's at the top of the brain.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we'll say it is
until
someone corrects us. And so you're burning through that molecule very quickly if you have ADHD, the molecule, that your body naturally makes. And that's why you're having trouble focusing. You're having trouble with your regulating emotions. That's a big one. It's not just distractibility.
So
emotional
it's regulating
regulation.
Emotions.
Oh, yeah. Being extremely sensitive, quick to anger. We can talk about that. Yes. Okay. So we can't do all of these things. We're distracted and we can't focus. And so this is why we need so many different kinds of medications, because everyone's different. We're trying to mirror that molecule and then give ourselves just the right amount that it stabilizes, this process, and it's not being burned through so quickly, and we can focus and get things done. Okay. So, different doses. It's not about age or height or gender or weight. It doesn't matter. None of that matters when it comes to dosing. It's not like taking a Tylenol, right? Right. So it's based on absorption. So my little 90-pound niece takes 3 times more medication than I do. And, there's just a lot of misconceptions
because their body just processes it different. Yeah,
absorbs it differently. Yeah. So you'll get people on the internet all the time, like, what do you think about this? How much do you take? Just totally useless questions. It doesn't matter. Like knowing how much medication you started on would do nothing for me if I'm going to start taking Adderall. Yeah. At all, even if you're related to me.
Yeah. Wild. Okay. So here's the other, I'm not going to say that the company, because I just respect, right? But I was in a big sales meeting and we literally had to stop the entire meeting because I want to go on both ends of the spectrum, right? Right. It's super beneficial, but then I've had a buddy personally that his dog pooped everywhere and his house looked like a poop yard because he lost his Adderall and he couldn't function. Oh, he shut down and could not, his life did not work without the Adderall. Right. And then inside of that same little group of salespeople, they had a company-wide meeting where hey, so-and-so has completely, he passed away because of Adderall, then something else, and then Adderall, and then dead. So there's super beneficial if done properly, right? But then I think it's super abused on this side. Right. So...
Yes. Okay. So if you don't actually have ADHD, as I mentioned, then you're going to get some kind of high, some kind of euphoric feeling when you're on it. And so, yes, we see people abuse Adderall all the time because, like I said, it's very easy to get and it's not expensive. Little side note, the reason I was divorced and a single mother for a long time is because my wonderful, amazing husband started to do drugs, and he actually got into a lot heavier drugs, but Adderall was one of the things that I think that he did abuse. Yeah. And so even somebody who has ADHD, I'm sure if they took a whole bunch of Adderall, it would help them feel more awake in the morning because it is a stimulant. So when you have ADHD, you will feel the stimulant effect of the stimulant drug for a couple of weeks, and then that wears off and you don't feel it anymore at all.
So
and
they
then
up it.
Well, they could, right? And so, but what I would say also is that somebody who you can have, it's going to be very common to have someone who has ADHD also be someone who has either had addiction problems or is prone to addiction because we're dopamine chasers. And so in those cases, I don't prescribe medication, but if I was, I would probably look at a non-stimulant that does something similar like Strattera. But the thing is, most ADHDers are not going to get addicted to Adderall, the majority. And that's because it doesn't make you feel like anything. If I'm on my medication, the reason I know it worked is because I can look back on my day and say, oh, I got everything done. I don't feel anything. I don't have like a period where it's like, oh, I'm coming off of my medication and now I don't feel as good. That doesn't happen to me. So
that's when people abuse it, is because it's like they're not really okay.
Yeah. So the bigger problem with ADHDers is they forget to take their medication.
Yeah.
I work one-on-one with clients all day. It's like that is the biggest problem. They're forgetting to take their medication.
Yeah.
They have to have, some of my clients have to have like 3. There's one in their car and there's something in their purse and there's, it's like they can't remember to take their medication.
It's wild, dude.
It's not that they're abusing their medication, because when they take it, it's not having that effect on them.
So how do you get diagnosed? Let's rewind back to you.
Okay.
Like 6 months ago.
Okay.
How do you get diagnosed?
6 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, so you want to go to somebody who specializes in ADHD, and they're going to do an
And they're all
evaluation.
over the nation.
They're supposed to be.
Okay.
I actually think they're very hard to find.
Okay.
But yes, they are all over the nation, supposedly. And
Is there a lot in Utah? Because there's a lot of Adderall in Utah.
well, there's probably a lot of doctors that prescribe Adderall in Utah. Let's put it that way, right? But you're just going to do an evaluation where they ask you a lot of different questions. And so the DSM, as I mentioned before, it only goes up to age 16. We're on 5.
Okay, cool.
We're on 5.
I might have it. I don't know if I have it, but I get sidetracked.
Well, we should figure that out before we end today. But they're going to ask you a lot of questions about your behaviors and your habits, and then also just kind of some of the ways that you think about yourself and your life, if they're doing a proper job. Yeah. And so I'm sure the way that different specialists diagnose looks a little bit different, but basically, if you meet enough of that criteria, they're going to come to the conclusion that you have
little
ADHD.
Things you said?
Well, every evaluation is going to be different, but there's 18 behaviors that they focus on. So they might ask you different questions based on those behaviors, but really what we're looking for is impulsivity. Like, how impulsive are you? Impulsivity is a huge thing with ADHD. So let's just have a little talk, okay? How impulsive would you say you are? Like, if I was going to give you
scale 1 to 10, 10 being.
And you also are a mind reader. That's not an ADHD thing, though. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, for real?
Scale from 1 to 10. Yeah. So 10 is incredibly impulsive.
I'm obnoxious. That's why I said that, probably. Like, not a mind reader, just obnoxious.
ADHDers can be very obnoxious.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
So far, you're like passing this test with flying colors.
I'm one of those for sure. It depends. It really just depends. Like on what? Like maybe a 6.
What are you impulsive about? Are you willing to share? What do you do?
Maybe a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, like I'm pretty routine. I know, but I'm pretty routine. Like, if I look at my behavior over a day, right? I do the same thing every single day. Every single day. Where I get impulsive is like, well, we could maybe make money doing that. And I get like excited. And I'll like domain names for different business ideas. I don't even know how many I have. I keep GoDaddy.
You're impulsive about domain names.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to buy that. We're going to do that business.
So I would say that's pretty impulsive, because you don't need it, right? I mean, you're just doing this because you might need it in the future.
Who said I don't need it? Who said?
Not me. I did not. I didn't mean that. That's not what I said. But this is like just in case.
Yeah. No, yeah, just in case. Like, well, that's a good idea. Maybe we should do that.
So this is similar to when I find a favorite snack at the grocery store.
What's your favorite snack?
And I buy, it changes all the time.
What's it today?
Oh, gosh. So there's at Costco, I knew I wasn't going to be able to remember what it is. There's a certain kind of jerky that I really like.
Yeah.
It's like a mango habanero something.
Wow.
It's actually really good.
Okay.
And sometimes it's unhealthy stuff. It could be like certain kind of donuts or something. Yeah. But what will happen is I'm going to come back to the store again next week. It's going to be there. but I just go ahead and buy a whole bunch because what if it's not? Or what if
Is
I
that
eat a
an
whole bunch this
ADHD
week?
thing?
Well, so definitely an impulsive, like more is better than less. I do that a lot in my life. I should just do it now. It's
What
very
if I'm
impulsive.
100% convinced my wife has this ADHD thing, just based off of this first part of the
Then she
conversation?
probably does.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Will she appreciate you diagnosing her here? Should we?
Sure.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
We
No,
could
she
we
doesn't
could answer
listen.
her questions
Remember?
for her.
She doesn't listen
Let's
to
just
the.
say, we should just ask questions and answer
say,
them for her.
if you're your wife, what would your answer be to
Yes,
this?
that's
no,
what I
don't
wanna
do
know.
that. That
Oh.
will get me in trouble.
Okay,
for sure.
I don't want you to be in trouble.
That won't get me.
Okay, so you're impulsive about domain names. I actually haven't heard that one before.
Thank you.
This is you're
Yes.
unique. You're unique.
Thank you.
Anything else that you can think of that you're impulsive about?
Well, your snack thing for sure. Like if there's I have a pre-workout
Yes.
that's very much.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 6 different canisters of it.
Yes. See, I do that. I can't just buy one and use it for the month and then buy another. Like, what if I want a different flavor? What if at any given time I want some choices?
Yeah.
So impulsivity can vary from spending money to interrupting people to just making quick decisions. Like, for example, there's this teenage boy I was working with, and he was 17, so he knew better. And he lit a rocket under his friend's bed. So he wasn't at his house; he was at someone else's house, and they had wood floors. And he said, and I believe him, he was going to hurry and put it out. He just wanted to see if it would really, I guess, light. And then it did, and it went off faster than he thought it would. So it put a big hole in the floor, and that's impulsivity as a teenage boy for sure. Just like wanting to see, having no intention. But I think that ADHDers, I feel like my impulsivity has actually served me really well in a lot of circumstances. Like I'm good at making quick decisions, and so I usually make decisions I'm happy with. But I will often also make impulsive decisions that maybe I'm not happy with. But for me, it's always like I need more of that. I want more of that. Like even. I was telling them I bought 4 English bulldogs in 6 months.
Okay.
I really did that.
I have 7 bird dogs. Yeah. I get it. So that's why there's this dog right here. I 100% get it. I'll go on and I'll be like, oh, there's a puppy. Ooh, those bloodlines are great. Yep, let's do it. And then I was like, we do not need another freaking dog, man.
But I want one.
Here we are.
Okay, so that's a pass. That's not a 3 out of 10. That's higher than that, I think. But that's okay.
We'll leave it at the original 6. That fair?
6 is good. 6 is good. Yeah. So, and then there's, distractibility. So, the people with ADHD are really good at hyperfocus. So, if we can get our brain engaged and stay engaged, I mean,
unstoppable. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there anything that you think you couldn't do if you can keep your brain engaged?
Oh, no. I'm going to win every time. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
The problem for ADHDers is getting the brain engaged when there's something in front of them that's
I'm getting
boring.
Diagnosed here. I don't even know if I like it. Okay.
Well, we hate to be bored. It's one of the heaviest, most overwhelming emotions is being bored.
Wow.
Teenagers will explain, my life has no meaning because I'm bored. So we are constantly looking to not be bored.
Right.
We're just on the move. We're on the go all the time.
Yeah.
So, the distractibility thing, people who are ADHDers who are hyper-focused, they don't want to be interrupted because if they get interrupted, they don't know if they can get back to that hyper-focus right away. But when we're in hyper-focus, we could forget to eat. We could do it you could be buying domain names for like 8 hours maybe and having a good time.
Yeah, that did. No, I've not done it for 8 hours. No, okay. Yeah. Those are okay. What other questions?
Okay. Well, and so.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. Now, when you said they interrupt people, I do that sometimes. I don't mean to.
See, I don't mind because I do it all the time.
So here's my question.
Yes.
How did 6 months ago? See, we got distracted.
Oh,
I
still haven't answered your question.
Yeah. How did we get there? Like, how did you end up all of a sudden? I'm 40 and boom, I got this.
So actually, this is interesting. Hopefully my sister's okay with me sharing this, but she had a binge eating disorder. And she found out it was associated with ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
She was diagnosed with ADHD. And then she started telling us all about it. That's how I was introduced to Dr. William Dodson initially. I started watching his podcast, and I had never heard people talking about the things he was talking about. It was really kind of blown away.
Yeah.
And that's when we all decided to get diagnosed. And so much with my children started to make sense, because what he talked about that other people had not talked about was rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Or if they had talked about it, I hadn't heard it. Or in other words, RSD. And so that really falls under the emotional dysregulation part of ADHD. And rejection sensitivity dysphoria is the extreme sensitivity to feeling rejected. It's usually perceived rejection, but
probably
it can
not
be
get into sales.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But many times it's by people that you are close to or care about.
Yeah.
That's when it penetrates more. So it could be you doing your thing and somebody making a comment and you're just ruminating over it for 3 weeks. You can't let it go. It could be constructive feedback or criticism, or an RSD episode. It could be triggered by teasing, failure to meet someone else's expectations, failure to meet your own.
And these are all ADHD things.
These are all, this all is what triggers RSD, or rejection sensitivity dysphoria, which is a part of ADHD. So it's the emotional regulation side.
Wild.
And we call it an episode because when the RSD gets triggered, it does really, you start to spiral internally. So it can look like a lot of different things. Some people really will just lash out, especially younger people, like teenagers and kids in school. But others can hold it in, but inside they're spiraling. They are having a hard time. They're overthinking. Are they mad at me? Do they hate me? Are they unhappy with me? I'm not good enough. They don't want me here. And when the episode, you've kind of overcome or come down off the episode, there's usually a lot of shame involved, because we recognize that even if it's internal, the reaction is much bigger than the situation warrants. So it can be embarrassing, a lot of shame there.
So someone gets diagnosed, they get the proper medication that it regulates it.
If they choose to do medication, right?
Do these symptoms like subside a little bit and you can just be normal?
Anyone can be normal. No,
anyone can be normal. Yeah.
I mean, the goal is never to be a neurotypical person. That won't happen, because you do have different wiring for your brain. It's a completely different neurological system.
You called it neurodivergent in the beginning? Is that what you said?
So we're talking about a different neurological system, right? So someone without ADHD, their neurological system, is going to look different than someone with ADHD. So I mean, the idea of medication is to help you to be able to focus, get things done, stay engaged, and regulate your emotions, reduce impulsivity.
Yeah.
That's the goal. For some people, it works really well.
Yeah.
For some people, they haven't figured that out yet. What I do is behavioral coaching. So I work on the mind management side. I always will work on self-confidence, actually, with an ADHDer, because there's a lot of imposter syndrome. The average ADHD child has heard over 20,000 corrective messages by age 10. So there's some things to work on there, right? Like the things that they've heard. Why can't you work harder? Why don't you just do it? Your sister can do it. Why can't you do it?
Yeah.
So there's, I think the perfect combination for many is to do a medication with behavioral coaching.
Right.
But like you were mentioning earlier with the difference in medication, I have a lot of people who don't have to go on medication and can come learn more about the brain. Like we actually have an acronym to help us remember what gets the ADHD brain engaged versus a normal person, right? And then also, I have some kids in elementary school. They've been kicked out of 2 or 3 schools. They cannot function without their medication. So treatment is not a one size fits all.
Right.
And I'm not. I don't push one thing or another. I just like to educate.
Wild. Okay. So
did I answer the diagnosis
so
question?
basically, someone close to your sister.
Yes.
She got diagnosed with it.
Yes.
And then
it runs in families.
Did it like curb the binge stuff?
Yes. I mean,
huge.
Yes.
Or helped. For
yes,
sure
it helped. So like, for example, Dr. Dodson's recommendation for that is Vyvanse.
Yeah.
And so it's great. Well, because binge eating really is an impulsive disorder.
Yeah.
Right. So there's other things too. There's another non-stimulant medication that helps treat RSD, and that helps with impulse control too. So a lot of people will take both. The medications for a lot of people work very well, but there's fine tuning involved. Sometimes people aren't too much. They're not on enough. Doctors are putting people on non-stimulants like Wellbutrin for ADHD symptoms. Yeah. So making sure that you see a specialist is really important. Right. So that some people can just get on Adderall and it works great, and they just need a little bit of tweaking to their medication and it's awesome. Yeah. Other people, it takes them months to find the right combination and the right amount. And a lot of people will give up, especially ADHDers who have a hard time even taking their medication. They'll just give up before it gets to that point.
So I have I can't say too much because it's like I don't want to be exposing people.
Well, of course not.
No, and now I feel bad about saying that about my wife because who knows if she does. But I'm just listening.
Well, just so you know, I don't consider ADHD a negative thing.
No,
I love that I have ADHD. Yeah, from my perspective, it's a compliment to people that they have so many gifts. It's like a superpower, right? Yeah. Because if you can overcome the things that are getting in the way, and it's different for everybody, then after that, it's like off to the races, right? If you can figure out how to tap into the creativity and the risk taking, we make fantastic entrepreneurs. Yeah. People don't like it when I say this, but generally speaking, overall, the higher IQ than the average, public, whatever you want to call it. So it's actually a great thing to have if you can get over just the things. There's always just some things getting in the way. Right. So it's not an insult to in my opinion, to say that someone has ADHD. It's like, that's awesome. Yeah. What are you doing? Usually they're like, I'm doing this business and that business, and I just bought 10 domains yesterday. Like that's what they're talking about. It's awesome. That's because if you buy a domain, you're going to have a new business, right?
That's going to loom over me for a while now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay, but it's good. It's a good thing.
No, I do that for sure. No, that is cool. That makes sense to me. And I don't even think it would have been on my radar unless my wife had said, yo, I saw this thing on the Instagram and I think I have ADHD. And I was like, no, you don't. It's not a thing. And partially.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because in my mind, and this is, so, okay, we're going to go a little deeper. Is that okay?
I'm ready. Yeah.
So
it's time.
In my family, mental disorders runs pretty deep. Like my dad was bipolar, my grandpa was bipolar, or I have some schizophrenia people in my family. Like, so in my mind, I've taken this stance of like, everything is a choice. I'm going to choose. Like, I'm just going to choose. Which is an extreme, for sure. It's an extreme. Right. Because then there are some people in my family who have gone and got on medications and they're completely easy to work with, where before it was like, holy crap, dude, nobody wants to talk to them. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so in my mind, ADHD just kind of fell in that category as well. However, as you're saying all these things, I'm like, golly, man. So, yeah.
Well, can I give you my take on that?
Yeah.
Because one thing that I'll hear a lot is, how come we have to have labels? How come it can't just be, you struggle with this thing, I struggle with that thing, and we're working on ourselves? And I like the intention behind that question, because to a certain degree, like, I agree with that, right? So, for example, I have a son who's a type 1 diabetic. Yeah. So I couldn't do that with him, right? He has to be on insulin. Yeah. And it's the difference between type 2 and type 1 is quite significant. He could eat really healthy and he's still going to have type 1 diabetes. It doesn't go away, right? It's something he has. Yeah. And so I wouldn't like it if he walked around all the time like, well, I'm just in a bad mood because of my diabetes. Like, well, then go manage yourself. Go be healthy. But it's good for us to know he has it, because there's some things that really help him live a better quality life. Right. And that's what I think of when it comes to ADHD. So about 5 years ago, I was absolutely anti-medication, because I like to do things naturally with my kids and myself. But when I started really, for one thing, since we're going deep, I mean, I've had more than one child attempt suicide. So the comorbidity rate with ADHD is very high. And when people are really suffering, their symptoms are very debilitating, then it can turn into other things. Not getting treatment can be a big problem. And so we want to just have awareness to what's going on so that we can figure out what we want to do about it. That's always my next question. What are we going to do about it? Right. I don't like it when people if my clients say to me, well, it's because of my ADHD. It's like, Okay, now we're using it as a crutch.
Yeah.
The label is there to give us awareness and make decisions about what we want to do. So we don't want to pretend ADHD doesn't exist, because within one family, I have some kids on medication, some kids aren't, some kids who have some comorbidity and really, really struggle, and then, others that don't. I feel like even my sister and our ADHD is so different. So I strongly believe that if you can figure out how to get over, some people are dealing with emotional dysregulation. They can't have healthy relationships. They're quick to anger. They're incredibly impulsive. They can't hold on to money. Others, they are brilliant. They're smart. They would make great entrepreneurs, but they can't just focus and get things done. And then there's others that can overcome those things on their own. So everyone's going to look different, but we want to be aware that if we have ADHD and it's working for us, but then we have a spouse or a child who has it, we can't just assume that their ADHD is going to manifest the exact same way ours is.
Yeah.
So that's why I like education. That's all. Not big on labels, other than let's use it as a tool. And that's what's great about neurodivergence, is that we know so much about it. We know, okay, here's how we do get our brain engaged. For a neurotypical person, all it has to be is important, and we can just turn our brain on and we can get engaged. For someone who's ADHD, that's utterly useless. I don't care how important it is. If I don't feel like doing it, I'm not going to do it, right? So novelty, interest, competition, urgency, or passion, one of those 5 things has to be present, and now we can get going. Things like that help if you have ADHD, knowing
So
that
there's
versus
5
not
things.
knowing.
5 things that'll get you fired.
5 things.
Okay, do them, Sam again. I like that.
Okay, so
Please.
only one of these 5 has to be present at any given time.
For an ADHDer.
For an ADHDer, but these are
I've
the
noticed
things.
that we're putting an ER on the end of it. That's how we are labeling
It's
it.
cool.
I agree with you.
I live with a bunch of
almost think it should be
teenagers.
your podcast.
Well, I'm trying really hard to be cool these days, and
doing
they
great.
told me it's cool. Oh,
Crushing it.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, novelty.
Okay.
So the NICUP, or I'm sorry, the acronym is NICUP. I did
Like
not.
a hiccup. Go on.
I didn't
Okay.
create it. It came from a doctor, but yes, NICUP. I don't like it because I go in the schools, and if you spell it out, it's NICUP, and they always laugh. Like I don't
like
think
it.
that. I
It's
mean,
like
I
a
guess
hiccup.
it's kind of cute. We'll remember it.
Yeah.
Novelty,
Okay.
interest,
Okay.
challenge or competition. It's a
Okay.
big one for
Yeah.
me. Urgency. Think of
Okay.
urgency. Like you can't get yourself to do it all week, and then at 10 o'clock the night before, you're just like hyper focus and getting it
Because
done.
it's due at like 8 in the morning.
And this is how our brain really works. It cannot
This is
focus.
the worst. I probably have this dumb thing, this ADHD thing. Okay. Keep.
and passion.
Oh yeah, for sure I got it.
If one of those 5 things is present, we can get our brain engaged and
Oh,
usually
like
stay
that.
engaged. But if it's not, if it's boring,
I'm gonna sit here. Don't care.
like taxes,
You have to hire people for that.
I'm just talking about getting my stuff together for taxes.
You got
I
to
think
hire
I'm on
people
month
for that
3
too.
that my guy has been waiting just for some write-offs for something. It's like, I got to sit down and look through that.
Like, is there a way we could make it exciting?
Well, so that is the skill, right? I
Yeah.
teach it. I just don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. But it is true when it comes to taxes.
Yeah.
And so that's what I work with my clients on a lot, is figuring out how to inject one of those things into whatever the task is.
Yeah.
So you can't create artificial urgency. That's just something that we're aware of. But I think even that is good to know, because a lot of ADHDers will start to say about themselves, I'm lazy, I procrastinate. It's like, no, your brain's not engaged. You're someone who gets engaged over urgency.
Yeah.
And so you just believe at the last minute, I know I'll get it done because I always
Because
do.
I always do.
Your
Yeah.
brain works off of urgency.
It's exhausting. Yeah.
But you don't have ADHD. We don't know, right? So
Sure.
right.
Sure.
You wouldn't really know how exhausting it is, right? So, yes. What other questions do you have about this?
I just am in awe. I'm just like taking it all in. I'm just thinking, okay, I'm doing it my own little self-diagnosis over here.
Where are you at so far?
Oh, I for sure have it.
Oh,
Like I for sure have
we went
it.
from it's not real to I have it in a pretty quick period of time.
Well,
that was awesome.
No, because I'm impulsive. So you just sold me on it.
This is right.
That's why I'm a really good salesman. I'll get you excited about it, and I'll be like, "This is really cool."
Well,
Yeah.
ADHDers, you should start saying it that way. Actually, See if it
That's
works
your
for you.
thing. I'm gonna say.
I can share it with you.
I'm gonna say Jheri said this, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, cool."
Quote me every time.
Yeah.
ADHDers. Well, what was I going to say? Oh, ADHDers usually make great salespeople because they typically are outgoing. They're good with people. They can read people very well. So we'll make a joke and refer to this their sixth sense. Very intuitive. Can find solutions to problems usually faster than everyone else in the room. They just see it. And make fantastic entrepreneurs because they're huge risk takers. Like, I'm just going for it. I don't care. I'm just going to do it.
Very risk is like, please, let's do this.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And also, we love this about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
100%.
Yeah. ADHD is awesome.
I got to get diagnosed in real life. So
okay.
Who would I talk to?
Do you know I actually have, so I can't diagnose you, right?
Yeah.
But I actually have a quiz that I offer for free on my website.
You do? See, this is what I wanted.
Yes, and I didn't just make it up. I didn't just like say, you know, like like, do you like dogs? I didn't make up my own questions. No, not ChatGPT. No.
Yeah.
No. And so some of the different specialists that I work with have shared a lot of the materials, and so I just gathered different questions that they asked in their evaluations, and I put it together. So it's legit.
Okay.
But when you take it, it won't say you have ADHD. It will say like there's a high likelihood you should get evaluated, but you'll know.
And then will it give me like a drop down menu that says, "Hey, here's who you should get evaluated based off of your area."
I should do that.
And then you should get a kickback from the doctor.
I know. The problem is I need to go meet all of these doctors that I don't know.
That's fair.
But it's a good idea. Actually, I like that.
Impulsive. Yeah.
Because right now it doesn't do that. It's just like, go get evaluated. But you have a pretty, because you know, like places like Australia, for example, they'll tell me that they'll have a waiting list of over a year to go get evaluated. So that was what actually, it wasn't just everyday US people. It was, okay, this is actually needed in other places where they're waiting. People just want to know. They just want to know. Like, what's the likelihood?
So you just started consuming this after your sister like said, "Hey, this is what's going on in my world." You started consuming it. Then you got diagnosed. Then you took your kiddos and got them diagnosed.
Yeah, yes, but also there were other things going on. So I was telling you earlier before we started recording that my kids, most of them were pretty easy as kids. They were just like, I took them everywhere I went. They weren't emptying out cabinets and drawing on walls.
Yeah.
So when they became preteens, I was, all of a sudden things changed and things became very hard. There was a lot of emotions, a little bit of even just dysfunction. And so I was already trying to get help for my oldest son specifically. And I was going to therapists and counselors and different things. And he was never diagnosed properly, just diagnosed with depression. We thought he had anger issues and he was struggling and things just kept getting worse and worse. And I was already a coach at that time, but I wasn't specializing in ADHD or neurodivergence. And so as this is happening with my sister and then I'm getting diagnosed and I'm realizing that we are getting this all wrong with my kids.
Right.
The reason I really dove into this was for my kids. I mean, I of course wanted to know, but I had been through a lot. I'd been through a divorce. And so I'd done a lot of work on myself through coaching. I didn't feel like ADHD was near as debilitating for me as it had been in my 20s, for example. I had debilitating RSD. I didn't have a name for it. But my children were struggling so much. And that's when I started to realize how much misinformation there was out there. Doctors weren't recognizing these things and they didn't know how to treat it. And that's why I reached out, like Dr. William Dodson. I just called him up.
Where's he located at?
He's in Colorado.
Oh, cool.
And he's retired now, but I took a camera crew to his house and for 4 hours, I just asked him every question I could think of, questions that my clients had, from behavioral things to medication things. And so he is a medication doctor, but, and so ever since then, I've just been on a mission to learn as much as I can. And it made a huge difference, you know, for my family, my kids. And then it just, I personally believe that, you know, God really sends us down the path we're meant to be, you know, to give back and to really be fulfilled in this world. And
I
so
agree. 100%.
Right.
I agree.
So that's what I do now.
So here's my question. Having done a lot of the personal development, all that stuff, going through divorce, just normal life challenges, and having done the work, then having that next layer of, ADHD is thrown into the equation. Did it open up so much more understanding? It sounds like it did, but like, how much more? Like, could you quantify the difference between before having the labels of being like, oh, this is the rejection thing, and I'm going to have this little episode, and then I have this NICUP, and I have Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
it was, yes, it was like a whole new like my life finally made sense. Right.
Okay. Cool.
So the 1/3 of all adults say that RSD is their most debilitating symptom.
And that's just a fear of rejection.
Well, it's the feeling that you're constantly being rejected. So it's perceived rejection. So I'll
Okay.
give you a little example.
Okay.
My kids, instead of me, I like to call them out. I'm not going to tell my own experiences.
That's
Maybe
fair.
I will.
I get it.
So my one daughter, she really doesn't struggle so much with what we think of when we think of ADHD, not being able to focus, not doing well in school. She does very well in school, but RSD was really her main debilitating symptom. She's easy. We have a great relationship. 90% of the time, she's just like doing great.
Yeah.
There's this about 10% that I would joke, like The Exorcist will come out. I didn't know what RSD was since she was very little, right?
Yeah.
And so it might look like she's in speech and debate. She brings me her paper, asks me for help, and I give her some critiquing. I thought I did it very kind.
Mm-hmm.
And she loses it. Forget it. I don't need your help. You're always, whatever she says. You don't think I can do it. But what she's hearing is, you don't think I did a good job. You're saying that I need to fix everything because I'm bad at this. Kind of like, slams the door. She knows she has RSD. I know she has RSD. So she'll come back later and she'll apologize. But she's experiencing rejection in that moment. And so it can be very unpredictable.
Yeah.
It's like I could say that to her the next week and she can take it just fine.
Yeah.
There's something that's triggered. And it's this idea that they're being rejected.
Gotcha.
And so when someone has gone through trauma, we know that makes ADHD symptoms much worse. And if, like, for example, my parents were divorced, I went through a divorce, so there was some abandonment, some trauma there, it causes the episodes to last longer and to come more frequently because we're already experiencing so much internally.
Right.
But the idea is, I'll hear a lot of my clients say that maybe someone will make a comment about their work or something that they did. And it's like 3 weeks later, it still feels just as painful. They're just thinking about it over and over and over again. So it's just this, all you're feeling in that moment is the rejection, the fear of rejection or rejection itself.
Wild. Mm-hmm. What else do I need to know? Like, and that's my question, actually. You're the expert.
Well, I think that, comparing yourself to someone else who has ADHD is never that great of an idea if you're trying to, right? Like, because we come to usually incorrect conclusions.
Right.
Like, well, I don't do any of those things, so I probably don't have it.
Yeah.
What you're looking at is, like, if you've just done this thing once or twice, or it's happened sometimes, that might just be something else. It might be burnout from your job. It might be you're going through a really hard stage in life. When I have the evaluation questions up there, it's for as long as you can remember. Have you been this kind of impulsive, right?
Yeah.
Or have you struggled managing your emotions? Are you quick to anger? Are you extremely sensitive to the idea that somebody is rejecting you or doesn't want you around? So just understanding that it's a pattern over your lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you do these things repeatedly?
Yeah.
ADHDers are usually not very good at self-appraisal.
Yeah.
So we just keep doing the same things over and over again. We're usually not very good with time. We have two concepts of time, now and not now. And if it's not now, we're just not thinking about it. So I'm like late everywhere I go.
Now or not now. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, right. It's like out of sight, out of mind, you know?
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Now or not now. That's my new favorite thing right now. Okay.
Yeah, but it's different for everyone. But if we can learn, everybody has different things in their life that are impairing. So if it's being late everywhere you go, or I have one client right now, and he makes 7 figures. He's living in California, and he has this job that he's just so bored out of his mind. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money he makes. It doesn't matter his lifestyle. He's not getting his work done. It's like, yeah, because you're bored out of your mind. Yeah. You're talented, you're smart, but you get bored easy. So you got to go find something that keeps your interest. And there's no medication that's going to fix that for you.
Right.
You can take medication and you can sit and get things done all day, but you can't take medication and make a boring job fun.
And manufacture excitement. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, ADHDers are dopamine chasers. They are. So here is one thing about medication, though, that is interesting, is that there's actually a 3 to 4 time higher likelihood that someone with ADHD will become addicted to a substance, right?
What's the likelihood again? Sorry.
You're just 3 to 4 times more likely
Gotcha.
than the average person because we're dopamine chasers.
Yeah.
So if we're not treated, and treatment can look like a lot of different things. Like I think the behavioral coaching that I do is absolutely necessary, whether you do medication or not. It could be medication, it could be other things, but if you don't get treatment for the things that are impairing and you don't get control of your brain, you're just impulsive and you're a dopamine chaser all the time, then it's more likely that you will become addicted to substances because we're always looking to not be bored. So what is that? For some people, it's pornography, it's drugs, it's alcohol, it's sugar, it's buying things, you know? So gaining control over that and just understanding the process. So many ADHDers struggle with self-confidence because you have to really be consistent, I think, for the most part, to feel good about yourself. If you ask me to do something, I have to know absolutely I can get that done for you. Or if there's a deadline, I have to know no matter what, I can get my brain engaged and I can do it. So if we're inconsistent and sometimes we're following through and sometimes we're not, that can cause a problem with self-confidence, you know, whether or not we believe that we can show up for people. And also we'll start turning to things to feel good as soon as we aren't getting enough dopamine. So just understanding all of that is also another really good reason for just learning about this. ADHDers get a lot of relief from understanding I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just wired differently. Awesome. Now, what am I going to do about it? Right.
Is there a statistic out there that says how many people actually have it? Like what, like diagnosed and undiagnosed? What's the stats out there?
So right now it shows that between 10 to 12% of the population has ADHD.
So we're rare. We're cool.
We are very cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Where before we used to believe it was something like 2 to 4%, and we actually believed you could grow out of it. I think there's a lot of adults who think that now.
I don't. Yeah. When I was little, it was not a positive thing. I was the naughty kid.
Right. Exactly.
Like I was like, oh, whatever. But
I think you should tell us one of these naughty stories, and then I'll decide, you know, if it really is a naughty thing or not. Like why were you being tied up all the time to your desk?
I would not sit down.
That was just it. You just wouldn't sit still.
Like I would not hold still. I would not sit down.
So if it wasn't ADHD, then like let's just pretend it's not real. What's your explanation for not sitting still?
I got nothing. No, I would not sit still ever. Like I could not do it. I don't even sit still now to eat. Like I stand and eat most of the time if I'm home.
So are you for an adult, would you say that you're a little more on the hyper side?
I wouldn't say I'm hyper anymore. Like I'm pretty chill for the most part, but emotional regulation, whew, like
okay.
I can be super excited and then I can be like, I'm not saying a word, I'm pissed. Or I can be super pissed. Like,
Yes.
So yeah.
Because when ADHDers are up, they're up. But then when they're down, and we're doing this a lot during the day.
Yeah.
So we use ADHD. That's the term we use now. We don't use ADD. So it can be for hyperactivity, but it can also be for hyperarousal. So a lot of adults think that they grow out of ADHD because they're not hyper anymore and they can sit still, but it just manifests into something different. So if you were hyper as a child, now it just might be that you're busy all the time, you're restless, you can't sit still. And so that hyperarousal could look like trouble sleeping or just multiple thoughts at one time, always on the go. Mm-hmm. But that's pretty common.
Well, the NICUP thing is if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm
so if I was gonna give you a diagnosis, I would say you have ADHD. I would sign it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably do. Yeah, because if I'm not excited about it.
And you know, this is the hard thing though. If someone doesn't have ADHD, because I do a lot of posting about this online, they'll make comments all the time. Like just try harder. That's ridiculous. Everybody's like that. Nobody wants to do things they don't want to do. But with ADHD, that's
true. They do say that.
Yes, everybody feels that way.
And you're like, dude, if I do engage, there's no way you're catching me. But right now,
thank you. Yes,
nothing you can say is gonna get me going.
ADHD paralysis is real, and if you don't have ADHD, you really can't understand it. So I understand. I can see why they might think that, like, oh, nobody wants to do these boring things, of course, but you just do it.
Yeah.
ADHDers can't just do it. You know, they'll distract
What's in
themselves.
it for me? Something's got to be in it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll find something else to do. Or there's a word that I like to use. It's called procrastivity.
Wow.
It's a cool word, right? So we have all these cool words.
I think I know what that means, but what does that actually mean?
Well, it's the way that we keep ourselves busy doing things while avoiding the most important task.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes.
That's literally my entire household. Like literally like the entire household's like, what are you doing? Like
something.
For example, we're cleaning the kitchen, but now all the drawers are empty. Why are all the drawers empty? Well, because I had to like scrub in the drawer. You just made a bigger mess. Like, what is happening right now? Like,
there's like a million memes acting out this exact scenario that you're talking about ADHD online. Like, this is the thing.
Or it's like, hey, we got to go do this. But before we can do this, we got to, what? Okay, whatever.
Well, it could also, like for me, taxes, right? This is a big thing I don't want to do. And so the big lie I'll tell myself is I'm going to get it done this weekend. And then the weekend comes and then I think, but there was this other thing that I said I would do. I should probably do that first. And I've got to go run an errand. I'm going to get in my car. I want to drive my car, right? Yeah. So like I'm busy. And at the end of the day, I can say I did all these things. Like maybe I even made cookies for my neighbor because I haven't done that for a while. Yeah. But I didn't get my taxes done. Yeah. Procrastivity.
That literally should probably be a sign in my house. Like it really for sure. Like, oh, geez, what are we doing right now?
Yes. Because well, something interesting about the ADHD brain is it wants a for sure thing. So if you have one project, even if they seem equally difficult, if you don't know how long it will take you to do this other one, there's no end time. There's no for sure. And this one, I'll be done in an hour. You'll always go with the one that you know when you're going to be done. And also if it's the difference between, like, I do not want to mow my lawn in Arizona. It's too hot right now, right? It's middle of summer.
I would not either.
But if it's between sitting down and doing taxes and mowing my lawn,
I'm mowing my lawn.
Yes. Because I get to stand up. I can use my whole body. I can move around. I can listen to my music. 100%.
Okay. This is a thing. I guess it's a thing.
ADHD is real.
Okay.
That's what the podcast should be called.
Yeah.
ADHD is real.
But ADHDers, I can't take that one out of the hat. That's like a good one. That could be, you could pick that one. ADHDer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like it. Okay. What question am I not asking?
Well,
because I'm just kind of in awe that I don't even know how to formulate a question right now. Where I'm like,
this is not like you, huh? I mean, if you wanted to, you could just even ask me anything. Actually, we could anything at all about entrepreneurship or ADHD. But the thing too is that it runs in families.
Okay, I did have a question.
Okay.
So we want a for sure thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But risk is just we embrace it.
It's exciting.
But but it's not a sure thing. The risk is never a sure thing.
We're talking about boring tasks.
Okay, gotcha.
Versus doing something exciting, right?
Okay.
Because risk taking there's usually some excitement to that.
Yeah.
And we're impulsive.
Yeah.
So we're just like, I'm going to do it. Like the impulsivity is the exciting part.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it.
I'm a 10. I'm a 10 if I'm really thinking about it. I'm like a hard 10. Yeah.
I convinced you. This is a success.
Yeah. No, on impulsivity. I'm a 10.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. You're a 10 on impulsivity.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but exactly. Right. So where we're talking about boring tasks, like I do not want to mow the lawn, but I do not want to do my taxes. I'm usually going to choose the one that I'm using my body. If we had ADHD schools, we would not be sitting still. We would not just be writing tests.
You would get tied to your chair if you don't have. No, for real. That really did happen.
But to see how quickly you could get out of it, right?
I did get out.
There'd be lots of challenges and competitions.
Yeah.
We'd be walking around, touching everything. We'd be allowed to interrupt and work in groups. ADHD school would look very different than.
How do we make one of those? We could make money doing that.
Well, we should. That's a good business that you should.
Yeah.
Go get a domain, and then we'll sit down and figure out how to make. Yes. ADHD school. ADHDers.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yes. This is good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yes.
I really don't even know what to ask because I'm like processing my whole.
Well, ADHD
life.
runs in families too. So,
Okay.
like I said before, usually adults are getting diagnosed when their kids are. There is a misconception that ADHD comes just from trauma, and that's not true. So, trauma can make ADHD symptoms much worse. But ADHD is something that you're born with, and you will never grow out of it. You might grow out of the childhood symptoms.
How are you born with it? It's just like a chromosome. What are we working with here?
It's
Yeah.
it's just a way that the brain is what's
It's
the word I'm looking
neurodivergent.
for? Yeah, but I mean, it's a development, right?
Yeah.
So you have the neurodivergent brain.
It's a greatness
when you're
development.
Born. Yes, we should change that.
Yeah,
I think
it's just
I think so.
It's just greatness. You either have it or you don't. Do you think
Exactly.
Brady? You think Brady has it?
I think so. I think Brady has it. Yeah, I think he probably does. Yeah, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why he's got this great studio.
Exactly. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's a real
and
thing.
it's not just any studio. It's
Would
the
you say
biggest
all entrepreneurs
studio.
have it?
I would say probably the majority of them do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so last question.
Okay.
If I don't even know how to phrase it because it's like, so what I ask on all of them as a question is, if there is something you could share with the audience for them to be sold on themselves, what would you do if you were looking through the lens of ADHD? How would you sell someone on themselves if you're talking to them as if you're coaching them? Because clearly that's what your coaching is to
Yes.
sell them on, hey, you can work through this ADHD stuff.
Right.
And then where do they find you and all that stuff too?
This is actually a really good question because it's interesting. If I like to post a lot of positivity about ADHD because I think you mentioned at the very beginning of your podcast, you like choices, right? Like, who am I going to be? What am I going to do about this? I love the question. Now what? What am I going to do about this, right?
Yeah.
I actually do believe that regardless of our wiring, the way that we think about our wiring matters. So
Right.
if you believe that you can overcome your symptoms, if you believe ADHD doesn't hold you back, if you believe it's a superpower, the likelihood that it will be just goes up, right, astronomically. So I think that, so when I post on social media, if I do post something negative, then a lot of people will come out and say, oh, it's my superpower. But if I post positive things, just as many people come out of the woodwork saying it's destroyed my life. I hate ADHD. Here's all the terrible things it's done for me.
So
right?
they want to
Or to
defend
me.
it either way.
Yes.
It's a weird
Yes.
deal. Okay.
Yes. So just what I just said, when you find out you have ADHD, all this is meant to do for you is give you an explanation. You already had it, it's not like anything changed. And I actually like that it gives us a little bit of an instruction manual. Here's what we know. Like NICUP, for example, we know a lot. Somebody who's not born with an understanding of why they're struggling with the things they are actually they have a lot more work to figure out, well, then what do I do about this? How do I work with my brain? We have so much research and information on ADHD. We have an advantage. So ADHDers, again, have so many gifts.
Yeah.
And there are people who don't like it when I refer to it as a superpower. I love that I have ADHD. I think it's the reason. So one thing that I have been good about, we didn't even talk about business, but one thing I have been really good about is reinventing myself time and time again in business. I've had some of the coolest jobs.
Okay, talk about that a little bit. We got time. Yeah, we got time.
Yeah, sure. Now.
Yeah.
Now and not now. We have all the time right now.
Well, it's now.
Okay,
Well, we're
it's now.
here and now.
Let's do it now.
Okay.
So at a very young age, so I left home at age 15. And I actually did not graduate from high school.
Cool.
I went to college later and did some different things. I actually quit college because I was making a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah.
But by age 20, and I'm kind of old now, so it was a lot more money back then. I was making six figures in real estate.
Yeah.
And looking back, I didn't always know why business came easy to me. And now I know it was ADHD, right? It was a combination of meeting the right people, knowing how to talk to them, knowing how to connect with people,
Right.
Just digging in and taking risks and being willing. When other people will give up, I will not give up. I will do this until it works, right? And I owned a dance studio for 13 years, a very competitive dance studio
You're out of
while I was a
control.
mom.
Okay.
And then when I got divorced, my whole world crumbled. And that was a really difficult time for me. So I decided to go work for the airline. This is kind of a cool story. You want to hear a cool story?
I always
Except
do.
at the risk of sounding like I'm bragging, which the story is meant to inspire people, not to brag, but it's kind of a cool thing. So
Okay.
I get a job at the airline, and I went there because my idea was I'm going to try to work at corporate. I've never worked for corporate. I've always worked for myself.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like it. I didn't like it. Like, spoiler alert, I didn't like it. But so I go get a job. I go through this 5 weeks of training. I get hired. And then immediately, like the next week, I make an appointment with the vice president. She's too busy to see me. So I just pretend like I'm going to be, in town. And I fly out there and I rent a car. And she'll just meet with me like in the lobby. And I tell her, I'll do whatever it takes. I want to work here. So she says, okay, well, here's the thing. Like, slow down. You just graduated as a flight attendant, but you have to work for our company for 6 months to hold any position here, to even like be the janitor at the hub in your state. You have to work here for 6 months. So just watch the board, apply for things that come up just so we can get to know you, and just be patient. So about a month later, she tells me, hey, guess what? This in-flight instructor position. So basically you train all of the flight attendants for the company. It just came open. You aren't going to get it. Like, you're not qualified, but just apply so that you can get to know everyone. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into because it's this lengthy process. So I apply and I get past the first stage of interviews, and I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting, because the second stage is you have to create an entire training module and then fly to their headquarters and present it to all of the president of the company. Yeah. I did not want to do that. And by the way, I didn't know how to use PowerPoint. Yeah. I never had to use it before. Yeah. So I was really stressed out, and I create this PowerPoint, and you have to do it on like FARs. It's really boring, and you have to make it funny and well, I thought I did make it funny and entertaining. So I fly out there and I give this presentation, and honestly, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Like, I'm not even going to get this job. This is like a lot of work. I was so stressed about it. So I give my presentation. And I get the job. But what they did was they waited a couple more weeks until I'd been with the company for 3 months. Yeah. And then they announce it, and they changed the rules that you have to be with the company for 3 months to hold a corporate job. Flew to corporate, moved my whole family, threw them all in a U-Haul.
To where?
To Vegas.
Okay.
And I was an in-flight trainer for an airline. I didn't even have any experience in it.
Can we know which airline?
Well, it was Allegiant. So yeah. So it was
There's Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play.
That's exactly right.
Cool.
But I mean, I was training flight attendants who had been there for 10 years. You have to do their recurrent training. Yeah. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned. And I was actually really good at it. But that's a whole nother story why I left. But anyway, so then, and then I had my own radio show on the 92.3 here in Arizona. It's the largest talk show station. So I got to do that. I got into actually selling real estate instead of a mortgage broker. I did that. And then at some point, control. Well,
I like it.
There was something about reinvention that I think ADHDers are really good at. Yeah. Finding the right people, picking things up really quickly. That hyperfocus does us so much good. Yeah. And then one day I just realized I don't want to do these things anymore. Divorce was really hard. Yeah. Being a single mom was really hard. So I want to help other women. And I loved it. It was going great. I loved being a coach. I'd invested a lot of time and money and training into what I was doing. And then my son was really struggling. I couldn't get help for him. And that took me on a completely different journey. So I immediately shifted my niche over to neurodivergence and ADHD when I realized I really felt like it saved my son's life. It was really funny because I was working with women, and they were asking me, "Will you do a class for teens? I think all teens need this." And it was just coaching, life skills. And I was like, "No way! My son hates me. I do not want to work with teens." Yeah. And I finally did a pilot program. I kind of forced him to do it. It was the first thing that helped him. Started working with teens and their parents, and then went down this road. So here I am. But my whole point is looking back, because I have some people in my family just really, really smart, don't take the same kind of risks. And they'll say things like, how do you just make relationships and money and jobs appear out of thin air? And I don't see myself that way, because usually we focus on our failures too for a while, But eventually I realized it's ADHD. It's just the ability to just seek out the right people and not be scared. I realized other people in my life would take a lot of time. They'd do all of the investigation. They'd have to make sure they're not going to embarrass themselves. I never worry about that. And so there is a difference about the way we approach things, right?
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah. And if you have ADHD, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say it. And people who have ADHD, they don't always get it.
I like it. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure.
This was so much fun.
And I learned so much. So thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully your wife enjoyed it.
We'll see if she watches it.